This month, we sat down with Karen Chrappa, author of A Structure for Spirit. Karen gives us an inside look into how she created this inspiring toolkit, which consists of a workbook and an audio of guided meditations. Now let's go inside the expert.
Okay, I'll just say back in the late 90s, I was in a yoga therapy program, and a daily practice was something that was imposed on me as a result of this program. And there was actually a lot of resistance to having a yoga practice or meditation practice every single day. And but what I noticed after about 6 months is that the action of creating a daily practice in my life was accelerating my own spiritual evolution, my own healing, my own awareness. And over the years, I really began to bring more of this message into the work that I do with people. Most of the people that I see come to me because they're in some kind of physical pain. And I really always try to inspire every individual to create some time, to devote some time in their day to kind of self-reflection, if you would. And I've just noticed that for most people, that is daunting. It's overwhelming. They really don't know where to start. So for me, creating a structure for spirit was a way to give a sort of a template or a framework or a basis for somebody to actually begin to create their own daily spiritual practice. Yeah, the intention is, it really is to offer some support to somebody in creating a daily practice. And, it's actually a very sort of a loose kind of term in a way, in that the book itself it's not as if it really follows some specific spiritual tradition. And that part of my hope would be, if somebody steps into this process, that maybe there might be something that they might be able to take and kind of weave into their own life, even once they've finished using the book. Because the book is designed to take somebody through 30 days of a daily practice. Now, to me, whether or not somebody does it in 30 days is not really what's so important, but what would be important for me, and my hope would be for somebody who steps into this process with the book, is that they would finish it, whether it takes 30 days or 45 days, and that perhaps once somebody has come through it, they might say, oh wow, look at that, I really, this practice or this certain exercise or whatever it is that they might have taken from one of those days of using the book is something that they begin to bring into their own lifestyle, because truly I feel like that's how I've created my own practice. The truth is the book doesn't follow a specific spiritual tradition or practice, but I do feel the heart of it is rooted in shamanism, and shamanism being basically earth-based teachings that connect us more to the earth, and the fact that we all live on the earth, to me, simply says that these are practices that each one of us can benefit from, regardless of what our backgrounds might be, what our different belief systems or religions might be. So it's not earth-based teachings aren't teachings that exclude it all. They're very inclusive, as long as you are living on the earth. And I sat at the computer, and I'm not somebody who really works with the computer so much, but in 2 months I had written this book. It was as if the information was just kind of coming through me, typing it out. And I worked with the book for about a year. And, that initial fire that brought the book to fruition really started to die out. So it just sort of stayed on a shelf for a number of years and collected dust. And then there was a rebirthing of the book. And that came about because I was working with a mentor, and she had said to me, so how do you intend to bring your wisdom into the world? And, I mean, my first reaction was sort of like, that's a very big question. What kind of wisdom do I really have? And I said to her, well, I wrote this book a few years ago. I didn't really know if that was how my wisdom would come out into the world. But stepping into the studio for the first time was so exciting. I had words that I was going to use to guide somebody through different processes. And I stepped into this, obviously never having done it before. And the working with the beta, I have to say, was really magical because I had some ideas of how I wanted it to sound or the potential of what it could be, but having no understanding of how it would work. And she was really able to weave together my words with, sometimes I'm talking about like 30 seconds worth of music, and somehow loop and create a soundtrack that would support the words for, sometimes 10 minutes or so. And she's so masterful at listening. And when I would listen back to these recordings, they were so professional and truly more than what I thought they would be. And I have to say, by the second time I came to the process and reworked everything, that whole body of music really had grown. I also felt that the music was an important piece because, again, if I'm asking somebody to sit for 10 minutes and offer them kind of an audio guided word process, I feel like the music kind of taps into, because that's kind of accessing maybe the mental thought realms. But to me, to have music support it starts to access something on a more visceral, feeling, soul level. So it was important to have the music with the words because it kind of gets into somebody somewhere else than just their mind. And I also felt that maybe people that would be using this process aren't people that are used to sitting. They're not used to, meditation. So it would be a way to kind of draw them in. And again, like I said, having no idea how to do this, I was so grateful for the opportunity to work with Abida because it was truly in her hands. Like I was able to just do what I do, hand it over to her, and to me, magic was created. I started working with the journal. And it was really medicine that was necessary for me because I found it was something that I really did need and benefit from. It actually helped me through what turned out to be a very dark period of my life. And during that time, I was really driven into the woods, which is where we are right now. And so many teachings that occurred through my own process of healing by coming to the woods and working with the book really transformed the book itself. And from that original success journal, what emerged was a structure for spirit. But the truth is that second book couldn't have been written if the first one wasn't in place, because the second book became a kind of an editing, a reweaving, a reshaping a little bit of that first book. And that was a very different process than starting something completely from scratch. Putting myself in the world, let me just first say, is an edge. Meaning that, I'm actually very comfortable just kind of hiding. And, it took me, I avoided Facebook really for that reason, but I'm saying to myself, if I'm going to put myself out in the world, I really have to start getting seen. So one of the things I did about a year ago was get on Facebook, even though I was so completely resistant to the whole notion of it. And then I guess about, a few months ago, 6 months or so, I started a page for my book. And I started doing more writing, and I started writing on these online publications, about different topics that would be related to the book, topics on spirituality, topics on intention. So little by little, I was taking these steps. And then I guess it was about October, I extended an invitation to enter into ceremony online. What really arose out of that ceremony is a community of women. We're now called We the Women. And it's a group of shamans, priestesses, healers that have come together online. And we meet monthly. And what this lodge, what this group of women has shown me is that what it takes in order to bring our message, to bring our medicine, to bring anything that we have to offer into the world, what it requires is a model of generosity and a model of sharing. Because in a very, very short period of time, the audience on my page has increased 100-fold. I mean, I could never, ever, ever do that on my own. And that's how we end up uplifting each other. It's through honoring, through sharing, through generosity. And that's the model that we're working with. That's the model that we're bringing out into the world. And I feel like that's truly the model that is going to change the way any business operates. We are coming into a time when technology and indigenous ways, ancient ways, medicine ways that have been in practice for thousands of years are weaving together with technology. So how can we actually use technology to bring more of that into the world, to sort of spread those practices that have literally been in our ancestral history? We're sort of it's a place of wisdom that touches us at very deep, deep soul levels that we've become somewhat separate from. So technology is actually a way today, how can we use it to connect us to those ancient practices? So to me, this is that in action. There's, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a microphone here, and there's a computer here, and there's a very high-tech camera here, and yet here we are, in the middle of the woods, sitting on a rock, speaking about ancient wisdom. So I am truly grateful, truly grateful. I feel like we are in very, very exciting times in that way right now, and I also just appreciate Abida, again, this opportunity, and anybody else who steps into this moment with me. So thank you very much. Aho.